Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Hornets Daily, presented by Fan Arc, your one-stop shop for all things Charlotte Hornets. I'm Vance Ballard, but friends like you call me VB, and I'm back again to bring you all the up-to-date information surrounding the Charlotte Hornets. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button, leave a like, and comment on the video if you feel so inclined to do. Let's jump right into it, folks. It was a busy night for the whole league, a night that dreams come true, years of hard work pay off, and fan bases get a glimpse into the future of their teams as the first round of the 2025 NBA draft has concluded. In what was not a huge surprise, the Hornets selected Con Knipple with the number 4 pick after VJ Edgecombe was taken at number 3. While it may not be the most sexy or splashy pick, Con Knipple in no way is a bad or even the wrong pick here for the Hornets. Everything about his game is a perfect fit with LaMelo and Brandon Miller, as he can score at any level. He's an elite passer, and his basketball IQ was touted as one of the best in the draft. So he comes in, another addition to a young core, to continue to build around LaMelo and Brandon Miller, a fit with their game, someone who can help get them open and find them their shots and get to their spots as well. Take some of the pressure off of those two because he adds an offensive threat with his shooting ability if he's left open also. As I was mentioning, he's also one of the best, if not the best, shooter in the draft coming off of a freshman season where he shot 47.9% from the field, 40.6% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line. Add to that 48% from corner threes, along with being top 2 or 3 in the draft process. On catch and shoot threes, Knipple comes in labeled already almost as a sharpshooter and an NBA-ready guy from distance. At 6'5" with a 6'6" wingspan, he also brings good size to the two-guard position, something the Hornets are in desperate need of as they look to add a little bit more length to their backcourt. 6'6" wingspan from Knipple will really do that. Despite that wingspan, there has been some debate, some questions about his defensive ability as well as his overall athleticism. There has been some experts out there throughout this pre-draft process that have questioned whether he'll be able to stay in front of or prevent NBA 2s and 3s from getting to their spots right away, and that may be a struggle early on. But at just 19, with a whole career to mature and develop out in front of him, I don't think there's too much to be concerned about there. He's shown plenty of times in college while Cooper Flagg was out that he can be the man on defense. He is capable of stepping up and playing when he needs to, and now with a full-time laser focus on basketball and nothing but stronger, faster, and bigger to continue to get as he grows and matures, I think Knipple will be more than fine on both ends of the floor, and there's not too much to worry about defensively or athletically there. Now, unlike last year's first-round pick, which we all basically understood was going to be a long-term prospect, someone who needed a little bit more time to develop, kind of taking a flyer there and just hoping that Sedane works out in the long term. Con Knipple is not that. He comes in very much NBA ready with what was maybe the highest floor in the entire NBA draft of any prospect in the process, not named Cooper Flagg, of course. Con already has an NBA IQ, and his playmaking ability has never been questioned. That's something that maybe even was part of what got him here to the number 4 pick in the first place. He was touted as a great playmaker. Like I said, he's an elite passer, someone who can help all of the people on the floor with him be better, get open, find their spots, get to their spots, and hit and have open looks just by simply using his IQ and playmaking passing ability there from Knipple. Pair all that with his sharpshooter mentality when he gets to his spot and his upside, I think this could be called a safe, even a smart pick here at number 4 for the Hornets. Certainly should provide some optimism, a good start to the first round for Jeff Peterson and the new front office as they continue to try to build a culture here in Charlotte and take that next step into the playoffs, really, is where the next step would be here in Charlotte. But if you thought that Peterson was going to be content with just making that fourth round pick in round one, well, you'd be just like me and you'd be wrong. Coming into the draft tonight, there was a lot of talk about Charlotte maybe making a draft day trade, moving back to grab a later pick in the first round, maybe an asset on top of all of that as well. Well, they did make a draft day trade. However, it was not for that fourth pick. They were able to keep that pick, as we mentioned, we just raved about Con Knippel, and still managed to move a piece that the Hornets have trying relatively desperately to move for quite some time now in Mark Williams. Mark Williams was traded. He's been sent off to the Valley of the Sun. We'll see if this one goes through this time, but he has been shipped off to Phoenix in exchange for the 29th pick in the 2025 draft here in the first round and a top 5 protected pick in the first round of the 2029 draft. Vasiljevic was also included in the deal, and technically he'll be returning to Charlotte, but as I don't know how many of you may or may not be aware, he recently signed a contract with a Turkish team, so there is not a very good chance he'll be doing any playing here in Charlotte, despite being a piece of the trade. Regardless of that, it was a brilliant move by Peterson to be able to keep the fourth pick and still move on from Mark Williams, someone who we've been trying to do that for here quite some time in Charlotte. Not really sure, his future kind of up in the air health-wise, and it just kind of seems like he wasn't going to be the fit that originally this front office thought he would be, and it just became it's time to move on. And if this trade goes through, which we'll have to wait and see, he has been moved on from. As we mentioned, the real focus of the trade became the acquisition of a second pick in the first round and what the Hornets were going to do with that. I got a little bit excited when we got all the way to pick number 27, and Danny Wolf's name was still sitting on the board. Big man would have been another great fit to a young core here in Charlotte, but he was taken at number 27 by Brooklyn. And so after Hugo Gonzalez went to Boston at 28, the Hornets selected Liam McNeely, a 6'7" wing from UConn who brings in a fantastic scoring ability of his own to add to this young roster. He averaged 14.5 points per game this past year for Danny Hurley and the Huskies. And while he doesn't come in carrying nearly the elite shooter title that Knippel does just yet, he does appear to be more than capable of making up for that on the defensive end. McNeely has touted throughout this entire process as one of the better defenders in the draft process, and at 6'7", his length allows for him to guard twos, threes, and if need be, sometimes bump down inside and even bang with the big men. Like Knippel, his IQ has been raved about throughout this draft process, touted as a very high basketball IQ guy. But when people talk about him a little differently than Khan, they kind of tend to talk about it on the defensive end of the ball, known as a defender first who can also come in and give you those 15 points per game when necessary, even sometimes up to 20. If you got to have it out of him, he can go get it. But with his defensive mind set first, he should be fairly easily to plug into a bench role and be able to provide quality minutes on both ends of the floor early while he is getting adjusted to this NBA game and the speed of it, which I don't think he's going to have much trouble with, and he should fit right in. So after keeping the fourth pick, finding a more than favorable trade to move into the back end of the first round, acquiring 2 first-round picks for Mark Williams, like he tried to do from LA out earlier in the year, Peterson was still able to work his way into 2 first-rounders for Mark Williams, one tonight, one later on in the future in 2029. Jeff Peterson had himself a night, ladies and gentlemen. There is no way, shape, or form you can deny that. Now, I'm not going to go crazy and go as far as to say Knippel and McNeely make the Hornets playoff contenders right now as I sit here, but with the East set up to be wide open in 2026, as we all know, maybe the most wide open the Eastern Conference has been in a very long time, I'm certainly more optimistic than I have been in recent years in regards to the Hornets and coming into the summer. Now, despite all the fireworks and excitement of round one, we're not done yet, folks. Charlotte still holds two more picks in round two, with the 33rd and 34th pick coming back to back early in round number two. And with names like Rasheer Fleming, Ryan Kalkbrenner, and Jahani Broom still lingering, the optimism for round two is through the roof here on Hornets Daily. And as much as I'm on board with Connor McNeely, I don't have any real bad things to say about those two picks. I think they were very good, smart picks in the first round. The question of the big man does still loom large here in Charlotte. And so if Kalkbrenner and Broom are both still there at 33 and 34, I do think a lot of those issues could potentially be fixed right there with those two names. If not both of those two, maybe Fleming is there with one or the other instead, and I think we could still be very, very ready for Summer League if those are the four names we come out of it, whether it be Knipple, McNeely, Broom, and Kalkbrenner, or Broom and Fleming, Kalkbrenner, whatever order you want to put that in. If those are the four names that the Hornets can come out of here with after Thursday's round two, I think there's a lot of promise going into the summer, coming into the future, especially with the core that's already there to build around. I don't think there's any more glaring issues. Obviously, there's more people than there's more prospects than those three that still sit out there and could be preferred. But those are the ones that would be preferred in a perfect world. If you're asking me who I would like to have, it would be two of those three guys coming here in round two. And Peterson seems to be doing things the right way so far in this draft. I don't believe he's going to switch up and do anything any differently here in round two. So based on what he's done in round one, I'm more than willing to put full trust in him for round two and leave it in the hands of the front office. We'll just ride with it and see what they do. After the draft is over on Thursday, of course, we know the draft is fun and provides 2 days to be blissfully optimistic about the future of your team. Everything, all cards are still on the table. You could have still drafted a potential Hall of Famer. That is fun to think about and linger, but reality has to kick in, and champions sometimes can be built through free agency as well. That kicks into high gear very soon, and somewhat already has, since Charlotte is already able to do some negotiations with what should be their top in-house priority in Tre Mann. We saw yesterday his agent put out a statement saying that Tre Mann has been fully cleared health-wise, has a clean bill of health, and has been cleared for all basketball activities coming up in the summer. That statement alone should make him top priority, even more of a top priority for the Hornets to re-sign and bring back into the organization. They should get him into a room fast and not let him leave until his name is signed on a new deal. He should be the number one priority to keep and bring back onto this roster. But when it comes time to really hit the market from free agents outside of Charlotte already, the Hornets, they're not going to be able to sit idly by, especially if they're unable to get a big man to fill a hole in round two of the draft on Thursday. As I mentioned in our first video, I think it would behoove them to reach out to Memphis regarding Santi Aldama. I think he's one of the top targets out there for the Hornets right now, who they should be focused on trying to acquire. As I said, the Grizzlies already have to pay Jaren Jackson Jr. coming up soon, so there is more than enough reason to want to move some money around, move some guys around who are going to be expecting some money. And with the addition of Cedric Coward in round one of the draft out to Memphis, that could even further open the door for an opportunity to send an offer Aldama's way and bring him into Charlotte. As I mentioned, he's a large body, a proven defender, and he shot almost just under 37% from three last year, which would be a massive step up from anything the big men on the roster of the Hornets currently have to offer. That would bring a whole new element to what their big men could bring, and another 7-footer inside in the paint on the other end to protect the paint, protect the rim, and grab some rebounds inside as well. Aldama is also not going to cost nearly as much as what a name like Naz Reid will, or someone like Jonathan Kuminga, who's only 22 years old. He may be a little more expensive than Aldama as well. I don't think it would be crazy come free agency for Charlotte to at least make the phone call and reach out and see about acquiring Aldama from Memphis. Again, there are other names out there who could potentially be brought in, but I think Aldama is the most logical one. He's the one that makes the most sense financially. He wouldn't cost a whole lot, and he would come in and I think fit very well, again, around the young core of Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Nalcon Knipple, and potentially Liam McNeely, depending on what role he's going to play. I think it'll be off the bench early, but we could see how he develops into this roster as well. Again, I don't think it's crazy to reach out to Memphis and just see what it would take to bring Aldama in. Well, folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Hornets Daily. We'll see you right back here tomorrow with a recap of the round 2 picks. We'll be waiting with anticipation to see who they are, and we'll have a recap of them. We'll tell you a little bit about them and what they may bring to the roster. And we'll also have an update concerning a player who is currently on the roster but may not be for long. Again, thanks for watching Hornets Daily, presented by FanArc. I'm VB, and I'll see you tomorrow.